What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Gaming with the Broscast, episode 263. My name is Harrison. I am joined by my brother Nick, as always. I think my computer's running a little bit slow for whatever reason, so I'm not sure what's going on with our app that we use. But
am I delayed? Can you hear me immediately after you talk?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, we're good.
Yeah, something's going on with like the delay or something with switching scenes in the program that I'm using, but
gotcha.
All is good. We have a pretty massive week in gaming to talk about. Lots of news. I mean, GTA 6 getting delayed. That's pretty. I mean, I think most people saw it coming a mile away, but it's still like pretty big. And I guarantee you, in the coming weeks, especially at the Summer Games Fest, everybody's going to be telling all their release dates, because now there's no big juggernaut anymore, other than maybe Call of Duty.
But that's a known quantity though. Like everyone already plans around that. They know Call of Duty is coming every year, but like this is huge. This is like huge news. I mean, somewhat expected. Yeah, like you said.
Honestly, as excited I am for GTA, I'm kind of glad it's not coming this year, just because there's so much stuff, man. So much stuff.
Switch 2 and everything Xbox has cooking, and like we'll talk about it, but it seems like this is the year of Xbox.
Year of Xbox, absolutely.
Yeah, we'll get into it some more, but like it seems like things are going their way right now in terms of the software department, which is really good to see. I mean, that's great for the gamers. So
yeah, absolutely,
very excited.
But before we dive into, we're going to be doing, we're going to talk some more Clar Obscur Expedition 33, and we're going to do Act 1 spoilers. We'll announce that when we talk about it. So everything up until Act 1 is fair game. It's a pretty big stuff happens as well. So, I'll have it timestamped, all that good stuff. So we'll let you know when that time comes. But Nate, before we dive into that, how was your week?
Week was great. Yeah, just honestly played a lot of Clar Obscur this week.
Yeah.
And I think I stayed up until like 2 a.m. Friday night playing.
Hell yeah.
It's the first time I've done that in a while, but like I was just like, I was locked in, dude. I mean, especially after the things that happened in Act 1, which I won't say anything yet until we get into the actual spoiler section and talk about the game. But like after that, things just pick up so much, and it's absolutely incredible. But week was good. Came up to high point for your son's birthday. John's birthday.
Turned 8 years old.
Yeah, went to the trampoline park. That was a ton of fun.
Yeah.
I had such a great time. Yeah, man, just walking in and like getting into the dodgeball area and like immediately know which kids, which kids are gonna like be able to kind of like push back a little bit, like the kids that you can like.
I could throw it like relatively hard at this kid, and it's not going to be a big deal.
Yeah. So that made it a lot of fun.
Although you saw it, but there was one kid. He had to be 4, maybe 5, and one kid just blasted him like right in the forehead, and he fell backwards like he LeBron flopped. It was fun. Like I thought he had like a concussion, but he didn't cry. He got right back up. Like his mom was standing right there, and she kind of like, checked on him, but he got back up, and he was like, "No, I'm staying in, Mom."
Just like he was like a rag doll, just like laying on the ground, staring up at the ceiling, nothing behind the eyes, and then
he's probably in shock.
Yeah,
but yeah, that was a great time. Then we came back and we had a couple of drinks with our friend, and then we made some authentic tacos. It was delicious.
Nice in celebration of Cinco de Mayo.
Absolutely, yeah. I forgot about I was like if it's not on like a Friday or Saturday, like
really Monday.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna go, and we haven't been to like a restaurant for Cinco de Mayo because it's just so hard to get into. So
yeah, I mean it's almost easier just to make stuff at home.
Yeah,
if you want to make a margarita, whatever, just do your own thing.
Yeah,
like a little marg, but nice. Yeah. Great week.
Yeah, it was great. I really did like so. I played some Obscure on Clar Obscur on Wednesday, and then I just don't have a lot of time on the weekends anymore to play like during the day, especially. But Sunday I played for like 6-7 hours. So that's where I made up most of my time. But yeah, before we dive into Act 1 spoilers, we can still talk about like the game itself. This game is fantastic. I think that the video game industry has been kind of carried by the HD 2D games for like JRPGs.
Yeah.
We have missed this style of JRPG, like the big AAA-esque type of game, 3D obviously. Final Fantasy had that role for the longest time, and they've kind of gone to like the more of the live action approach, I guess, however you want to call it. And oddly enough, the sales of those games have kind of dwindled a little bit.
Tapered, yeah.
Everyone said that, JRPGs are dead, and I don't think that's the case. I think they're missed.
And I think they're greatly missed. Yeah,
we'll talk about the sales of Clar Obscur here in a little bit, but that this game's selling as well as it has, and being on Game Pass, word of mouth is spreading. I think this is one of those genres that people just genuinely miss because we just don't get a ton of them anymore, like we did in the past.
Yeah, and you're right. We just have we really just have the HD 2D games, and then games like Persona and Metaphor, which are fantastic. I mean, Metaphor is like a top game for me, but I see what you're saying. Like graphically, you want to see something at Clar Obscur's graphical fidelity every once in a while. It's not like a driving force behind what makes a JRPG great, but it's just something that it's a spot in the market that hasn't been filled by anything else. Like back in the day, you had like games like Blue Dragon, which
Blue Dragon Lost Odyssey, one of my favorite JRPGs of all time. Like that game is incredible. And like you just talked about Metaphor. Like Metaphor is like a fantastic JRPG, but it's graphically, I mean, it's a beautiful game. Don't get me wrong, but like that more on the realistic side, that's where like Final Fantasy really came into play. Back in the day, where those games still look great, but I mean, I tried playing Final Fantasy 16, and it's like a full on just 3D action game.
It's like a Devil May Cry, yeah.
There's no like turn based at all. Which I love. I love those types of games.
I know, and I feel like Clar Obscur it does it so like almost effortlessly. Like it has of course the turn based structure, but then with these active mechanics where you're having to dodge, you're having to parry, you're having to do gradient parries, you're having to jump.
The gradient parries, I got those yesterday, are so badass.
Dude, they're super badass. Yeah. It feels really good to nail a gradient parry, and like it's kind of different from a regular JRPG because like in regular turn-based RPGs, like you're gonna get hit, and that's part of the game, and like you can't avoid that necessarily. Like you can defend, you can buff your character, all that kind of stuff, but in Clar Obscur, like you really don't want to get hit.
You have to dodge. You have to parry.
Yeah, you have to dodge. I feel like I'm like 25 hours into the game. I can see the end, and I could go to the end if I wanted to, but I'm doing a lot of the side stuff right now.
Yeah.
By the end, I feel like I have to parry.
I've started like one of the areas I was coming to. There are some really really like tough enemies. And I was like, you know what? Let me just try, because I didn't really try parrying too much.
Yeah,
because dodging is a lot easier. But once I started parrying and getting that timing down, like just getting that extra attack, like that's quadruple the damage. Going back to them, it plays a huge factor into kind of winning those fights. So yeah, this might be my favorite. Like, story wise, it's super intriguing, and I've enjoyed every step of the way. I haven't finished it yet, so I can't really speak about the ending or how the story wraps up. But so far, the mechanics have been my favorite, I think, ever in a JRPG.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely my favorite game this year. I'm wondering how I'll feel about it, like at the very end. I mean, this could be like a game of the decade. Like, I'm absolutely in love with this game. Like everything about it. I just did a boss before we jumped on, and the boss's one attack was just jumping up in the air and bouncing. And
oh my god,
did
I
that
fought
like
him
15 times in a row.
I did that one, and Kellen was like making fun of me. He's like, haha, you keep losing. But yeah, I did that, and I was dodging and like eventually I was like, he's gone like 10 times in a row. There's not much I can do. Clearly, I'm probably something's like I'm probably just under leveled at this point.
Yeah,
so I just died and left.
I knocked down like a quarter of his health, and then he kills himself at the end.
Oh,
after so many turns. So you just have to.
It's
just
a
battle
like
of attrition.
Battle. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But
I will say my only gripe with the game, and I don't remember if I mentioned this last week, but when I've started to fight these optional bosses, and one of the mainline bosses that can instant kill one of your people, they need an option to restart the battle.
Yeah.
Like, and I know, and I don't know if that's the case for every single JRPG, but like Metaphor, I mean, you just click the left stick and you restart it.
Metaphor was a special exception from what
they absolutely, and like the battles, like they don't take too long or whatever. But like that specific enemy where like it literally one-shotted 2 of my people in the first like 30 seconds because of a move this person used.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would just wish I could have restarted there. But
yeah,
instead I had to die and then go, then make your way back to the area, and then you could skip the cutscene in the game, which is great. But yeah, that's my only gripe, and if that's my only gripe, then this game is pretty damn good.
And I get that too, because like a lot of the first, like when you go and fight a boss for the first time, it's very much a learning experience. Like learning how to dodge the attacks, learning how to parry the attacks. Like it feels like a Dark Souls boss or a Sekiro boss, where you're the first couple of times you're just learning. You're not going to beat them, but you're just learning the movement and the cadence of the attacks. Yeah. So I do agree. I wish you could just kind of restart where you are. And my other gripe is like I wish there was some sort of mini map in the individual areas.
Yeah,
but I get that would be hard to do. Like there are a lot of different areas, and for those who don't know what I'm talking about, like you exist in this like big overworld, and you walk around, but you go into these individual areas, and that those areas don't have mini maps, so it's kind of easy to get lost. But that's a very small gripe. It hasn't been,
and they're not like big enough where they do have like some branching paths, but they're not like
you're not going to spend hours
in these areas
in one spot.
No. But yeah, I mean it's a super cool. It's a really really cool game, and I'm still like blown away that it was made by like 30 people, and it looks and runs, and I didn't even realize when I was playing. Because I was playing the other day, and I just happened to go into settings because I think you talked about like the gamma stuff. So I was like, oh, let me just mess around. I still left everything the same, but I didn't even realize there was a performance mode. I've been playing the quality this entire time, and it still runs like excellent. I mean, it's still like it's obviously not as smooth as performance mode, but I was like, man, I'm just gonna leave it in quality because it still runs great.
Yeah, I mean, it's a absolutely gorgeous game. Haven't had any performance issues. I mean, honestly, like everything about it, like the Picto system, like there are so like
I love
what you can do with a character. Like you can build whatever type of character you want, and it
can be like if you just look at it without like having any context of what these things are, it does look very jarring. Like it's like it's just a lot of stuff going on. But once you figure it out, you can make some pretty sweet builds. So
there's a lot of stuff you can synergize together.
Absolutely, like that's kind of like like getting new weapons is awesome. And there was that one, like I know some people have been comparing this game to Dark Souls, and I can see like they have like Dark Souls kind of like ideas, like you have like the Estus Flask or whatever, where you can heal your entire party, and then enemies respawn. But I don't think that's uncommon in JRPGs. So like I think people like to throw in Dark Souls a little bit more than they probably should. But there's one boss fight where you kind of fall into like this, you're like on a bridge and you fall down, and it's like got the ice and the fire.
Oh my God. Like Pontiff, is that you?
Yeah, Pontiff. Sullivan, how you doing, buddy?
What's up, bro?
That was an awesome fight, but
that was sick. Yeah.
So yeah, very, 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 very awesome. This game is great.
It feels so good to nail a dodge or to nail a parry.
Yeah, it feels like, awesome.
Ah, man. I'm so floored that they've made this game with so few people.
Yeah. It's crazy. Like it, we're not developers, so we don't know like the ins and outs of all that stuff. But like, it seems like this shouldn't be possible with how many, and maybe it purely is just like some of the worst management across the board in the industry right now. That like you have thousands of, and granted, 30 people versus 1,000 is obviously a lot. To stuff can kind of get away from you, but maybe we should be shrinking these studios down a little bit, and maybe not have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people where you can get something. Now, obviously, like, and that all depends on the scope of the project and stuff like that. But I mean, this game is still pretty big. Like granted, it's an overworld, so you're not like running around and doing, side quests in like the overworld itself. But like, it still feels big.
Yeah, it feels big enough, certainly.
Yeah, big enough.
It feels like there's a lot to discover. I mean, I think you're onto something.
Want like 100, like, we don't need every single RPG to be 80 hours.
We've had so many of those this year alone. Like, so many huge RPGs. Like, we don't need every game to have 80 to 150 hours of content. Like, I'm totally fine finishing this game around 30 hours and then having, still having 10 hours worth of content, 20 hours worth of content to play. Like, that's totally fine. And to your earlier point about having smaller development studios, I think we're on the precipice of the industry realizing that people, especially in the economy that we're in right now, and kind of moving towards like these $80 games with Nintendo Switch too, and Xbox moving towards $80 games. I feel like we're at a point where people are really gravitating towards these budget titles, like Split Fiction, $50, Clar Obscur, $50, Oblivion Remastered, that's $50. That's, we'll talk about it, but that one's doing really well. And, I mean, like, indies are always doing well, but like Blueprints, that one's, $15, $20. Like, these smaller budget titles, or quote unquote budget titles, are killing it more so than, games like Star Wars Outlaws or Dragon Age Veilguard that took 7 or 8 years to develop and only sell 1 or 2 million copies, and that just doesn't recoup the development cost. So I think we're on the verge of something.
I made it. I mean, we talked about it before in the past, but like I made a video today just talking about the Gears of War stuff.
It was a great video, by the way.
Variable pricing, I think, matters more than ever in the game industry. I have no problem spending, like, if the next Gears of War is $80, I don't have a problem spending. I mean, it's on Game Pass. I don't pay that, but I don't know. The Last of Us Part 3 or the next God of War, if that's $80, I don't have a problem spending that money. But please, your other games don't also need to be $70, $80. Throw in a $40 title.
Meet me in the middle.
Like, meet me in the middle. Like, I will buy up everything if it's all reasonably priced. And I think we're starting to get there. And just looking at Xbox and how, like, granted, last week they just had all the price increases, which some of it maybe not their fault, but some of it,
we haven't. I didn't put that on the news. We need to talk about that as well.
Oh yeah, I guess. I thought, man, the news has just been flying off here recently. But so yeah, I mean, they're raising prices. So I'm not going to sit here and shill over a gaming company, but I like how they've been doing their pricing structures. So
yeah, it's been working. I think you hit the nail on the head in your video when you talked about Luigi's Mansion. Luigi's Mansion 2 should have been $40. $40 on the Switch
at most. I probably would have bought it at $40. I'm not spending 60 for.
And like same for Donkey Kong Country Returns HD. Like, that one should have been $50 or $40.
40.
You can't bring. At least nowadays, I don't think you can bring a remaster from a previous generation and increase the price.
Increase it, and then like don't really give us much else.
Right. I mean, Tropical Freeze was a great example of that because it was $50 on the Wii U, I think, and then they increased it to $60 and added like that funky mode. But who gives a shit about that?
Like Skyward Sword was 60 versus 50 when it launched. I'll give it to them with that one. I mean, it's been 10 or 11 years since they had released that game, so
sure, they added a bunch of stuff to it.
And they redid the controls and stuff. So that's my own personal bias with Zelda. I know a lot of people were complaining about that whenever that got released. So I mean, I think it's more important than ever to vote with your wallet, and more important than ever that these companies do different price ranges, and then I will be happy as a consumer.
Yeah, I think
I'll gladly pay $80 for one game and then $50 for another.
Yeah,
I think that's fair.
I think so. Harrison, should we talk about Act 1 spoilers?
Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and start it up. So, all the way through Act 1. I think Act 1 is called Gustav, right?
It's called Gustav.
Yeah. So, let's just kind of build up to the ending. So, like, obviously we talked about it last week, but I mean, the opening to this game was one of the best openings, one of the best like hour openings, I would say, to any video game ever. It is that good. It really does a great job of building up the world, and still kind of leaves questions on what happened.
Like building up to the homage, like you feel the dread as the player coming in, and 5 minutes into the game, you're like, damn, like these people are all about to die. Like they're all about to get gomaged and whisked away, gomaged. So and then like going through Lumiere, talking to everyone, hearing their stories, like everyone has different takes on kind of death and what that means and what they want to leave behind, like their legacy. Like some people are artists, and it's kind of feels weird to be an artist, right? Because like the paintress is the one that's counting down and doing the homage each year. So it was cool just to like walk around and kind of like meet everyone, hear their stories.
And then I can't remember Gustav's like love interest name, but whenever you kind of gain control of her and you go talk to that girl that has the child, and she's like, you wasted your life. You didn't have a kid. And she was like, well, why would I have a kid? Why would I bring a kid into this world? Knowing that their life is going to be, over pretty soon.
Yeah.
And then I guess I didn't really connect the dots until you get to that moment of everybody disappearing, and she dies, and there's her daughter standing right beside her, holding her hand, and then she kind of, dissipates. So yeah, they just did like such a, like for characters, for a new IP, they did a great job in that opening, in that intro, to like make you actually kind of care about these characters, to where like when she dies, you're like, man, like am I about to cry right now? Like I don't even know this person, So just
everything about it was like, the music was so perfect, the scenery, just the visuals were, I don't know, everything was done so perfectly in this opening.
Yeah, it's having the big 34 in the background, and then like you're just kind of
just looming over,
making your way down. And that's what I love about this game too. It's like almost there's not very many places in this game where you can't pan the camera and see the 33. So it's like always looming in the background. Like it's so cool.
God damn, such a good opening.
But yeah, we'll move on to so after you kind of go through the homage and you talk to your crew, you get to the mainland, I guess, the continent, because like I guess it's called like the fraction, right? Is when everything kind of split. So you get to the continent, and then one of the coolest intros of a character I've ever seen.
Just the coolest intro ever.
Yeah, you have the kind of the gray-haired, white-haired man. He's got his cane, and just like the bass of like every time like his cane hits the sand is like so intense, and
so
then
ominous.
And then the captain like gets decapitated immediately, and then all things go to hell.
Just wipes the beach, so cool. Wipes everyone out. Like such a good, like I had a feeling that, I mean, it was a relatively large crew going in. I was like, no way everyone's gonna make it, right?
It's a JRPG. You gotta have the people that get killed instantly.
Oh yeah, it's par for the course. But yeah, that was a jaw dropping moment, just totally out of the blue, and you're like, who the hell? Like why is this guy so old?
Why is he old?
Obviously, that's super weird because the age cap right now should be 32. So like, theoretically shouldn't see any white haired people, but like everyone dies. or like a bunch of people die, and then it kind of switches over to Gustav, and oh my gosh, and then when he's about to like kill himself too, like after all this happens,
he comes in and saves him. Man,
Lune snaps him out of it. Man, what an opening 2 hours at this point. Like, damn, it's so good.
I was completely just captivated by this game at this point.
Yeah.
And then I think you eventually make your way to like the overworld. And then I was like, oh, okay, this is definitely Final Fantasy-esque. But I was wondering if that was going to happen. I think it was in the trailers, but
they showed it off. They showed it off in the direct.
Yeah. So I saw that, and then like I immediately went left, and there was like the dungeons that say danger. Does that mean that you're underleveled for those dungeons?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that'll disappear after a while once you level up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So and then after that, you make your way to like is this right after you make your way to like the Gestrel camp?
You go to the Flying Waters.
Flying Waters.
You find Mael in the mansion.
In the man. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The manor. Okay.
Oh yeah, the manor.
Yeah, and you meet the creepy curator.
Yeah, I meet the curator who was like allegedly kind of helping Mael throughout whatever happened to her when all that stuff happened on the beach, because it seemed like she was like close to him. She's like, oh, here's this guy who's been helping me out.
Helping me out.
Yeah,
helping her train and stuff. And then you meet one of the Gestrels for the first time. Noko, what's his name?
Noko, I think.
Noko.
Yeah.
Mr. Paintbrush. Yeah.
You gotta have like something like the Gestrels in every JRPG, just like some sort of weird race of creatures.
Yep, exactly.
So great.
And then after that, was that when you go? That's when you go find. Is that then you go to the Gestrel
village?
The village.
Yeah.
Direction for Esque or Esque.
Yeah.
And that's when you meet up with
CL.
Yeah.
CL, yeah.
So yeah, you've got your 4 party members total, and then Esque is not like he's one of the best characters,
best voice character ever, dude.
Oh my god,
the tone is so funny. And then with Francois, what was it, like his little neighbor friend?
Yeah,
when it sounds like he's setting you up on this
turtle
whole
guy.
quest. Yeah, he's like, I lost my rock, and it's in enemy territory. Gustav was like, let me guess, it's in enemy territory. We need to go get it. And it's like, no, it's just right next door. My Francois, my enemy, has it.
Yeah, it's just like a turtle.
It's just a turtle rock.
Yeah, and every time like I, get on his back and go swimming and stuff. Oh, it's so funny. It cracks me up every time.
Yeah, I always talk to him when I'm at camp.
Yeah.
Just always.
Do you? I think this happens. Does the friendship thing happen before Act 1, or is that after Act 1, where you can upgrade the friendship level?
No, it's after Act 1.
Okay. That's not really a spoiler. What does that do? Is that something that I just haven't gotten to yet? Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll leave it there then.
Yeah. Okay. I think. What do you have? Do you have the gradient attacks?
I do. Yeah. I mean, I've upgraded, I think, all the friendship levels with the people that you can so far. Like they're all at least 1 or 2. But I don't know what that entails. I don't know what that does.
I think, and this isn't really like a big spoiler or a spoiler really, but once you level once you level them up, you just unlock more
abilities,
gradient attacks. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay, that makes sense.
Cool. Yeah. So you find SKA. And you find a way to cross the sea.
Yeah.
And then you get to you go to the Stonewave Cliffs after that? To find his rock? To find Flory?
Yep.
And that's where it happens.
Gustav,
man.
I
guess spoilers, huge spoilers for those listening. End of Act 1 spoilers for Clar Obscur Expedition 33. So this is about 10 hours into the game. You've been warned. Gustav, he dies.
Yeah, it's shocking. Like not very many times, like a main character gets killed in video games alone.
Yeah.
So this was very, very shocking. Like I was waiting
for him to open his eyes or get back up,
or come back up, or something happens, like his arm like saves him, or something like that. But it hasn't, and it didn't, and it was pretty sad.
Yeah, I was floored.
Yeah,
because I really liked Gustav. He had just such a great personality, great outlook. But
yeah, he was very positive. Like he wanted to help everybody and stuff. So
yeah, and in retrospect, I guess I should have seen it coming because his skill tree wasn't as robust as the others. He it seemed like there was stuff you could unlock, but you couldn't even navigate over there to see the skills.
And it sucks because he died right when I was like really starting to get a grasp of his ability. So I was just like killing people like crazy. And then after that happens, it took me a while to actually start to be able to feel like I could do damage again.
Yeah,
because he was always like my ace ace up my sleeve. Like he was always my my plan A, right?
Right, because you can build up his like overdrive attacks. Yeah, and then you can just unleash a huge attack.
Yeah,
I mean, I will say, at this point in the game, Mael,
super awesome
powerhouse. Just not even my glass cannon, just my cannon. Just like unbelievable.
Yeah, she's awesome.
But yeah, at that point, it does feel like the rug is ripped out from under you. Damn, like
I was devastated. I was like, man, there's no way they just did this.
Yeah, I think right after that I took my dog out on a walk, and I was just thinking about it, man. I was just sitting with it, like, how could they do that? How could they do it? Was Charlie Cox too expensive to get the full game?
Probably. He probably was. They're like, all right, you're a main character for the first act.
Yeah.
You got to go, bro.
Yeah, bro. You can't be charging us this much.
Yeah. So yeah, I was genuinely shocked when that happened. So, but, and that, I think that's the end, right? And then you meet the new character comes into play.
Yeah, you meet Verso. He comes in
and saves the day, or saves Mael, I guess. And then he joins your squad, and then end of Act 1, right?
Yep.
Not much happens after that, I don't think.
Yeah. Crazy Act 1. Like
yeah. What an opening! What an opening! 10-hour opening. It was great.
10-hour opening. Yeah. What if like the title screen, like the title screen rolled right there, like this is the beginning of the game.
This is the beginning. Oh, that'd be crazy.
Yeah.
So, I absolutely. I know you're probably a lot farther than I am. In the main story, but
how far are you past Act 1?
So I
guess without spoiling it,
I have fought the big bad. I guess I fought. It's not really split up until this point. I fought the white hair man again.
Okay.
So I'm like just past that part. So I'm still. I haven't hit. I don't think I've hit Act 2 yet.
I mean, you're in Act 2.
Well, I mean, I don't. Is there an Act 3? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have not hit Act 3 yet. Then.
Okay.
Or at least I haven't gotten the title card yet. But yeah, game is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, this is an all-timer for anyone on the fence. Just do it.
We need to, after we're done with this game, at some point this year, you need to play Lost Odyssey.
Yeah. I could probably play it on Xbox, right?
I think I bought it digitally, so you should be able to download it. So yeah, we need to play that together, because that game, and I did play it like not too long ago. I did like the opening act, and it's fun.
Okay, I'm down.
And visually, it still looks like pretty good. So
that was 360, right?
360. That was like right around like the Xbox's like big Japan initiative. So they had Lost Odyssey, Blue Dragon, that stuff. Yep,
gotcha.
And they I think they sell decently well, but not multi-million. Probably broke 1 million, maybe.
How many lost? Was there just one
I don't have the game, do I? There was just one Lost Odyssey.
Just one, okay.
Yeah. No, I don't have it, but yeah, game is great. All right, let's jump over to Last of Us Season 2, Episode 4. Day 1 is the title. Mm-hmm. How'd you like this episode? You're not too big on the third one, so how did this bounce back for you?
Yeah, I thought this one was awesome. I loved it. The action in this one was fantastic. Like them being down in the
probably one of my favorite episodes between the two seasons. It was fantastic.
Yeah, and like that and the character development between Dina and Ellie was was top notch. I think the changes they made from the game really worked here.
Yeah,
and it just like
it was like in the game, and obviously this is full spoilers for episode 4. But like in the game, they had been together for like maybe a month or so before they departed. So that was like the big switch, is like whenever Dina told Ellie that she's pregnant, in the game, she was like, you're a burden. You're a burden now. So that was kind of that was obviously a big, difference between the game Ellie and the show Ellie. But I mean, I love like whenever, Ellie got bit again, Dina was like,
to save Dina's life too.
Yeah. To save her life. Yeah. Dina was like, just, I have to kill you now.
Yeah.
And then when she, obviously, after, she falls asleep and, so yeah. I really like that. I mean, I've liked the changes, I think, in general with the show. Like I'm one of those people where I don't think like, I like the Halo shows. Like I don't need it to be a 1-for-1 remake. I'm okay with them making slight changes. Because look, I mean, you got to think. I mean, Last of Us Part 2 is like a 30-hour game. Like you have all this time for, slow character development. You kind of have to speed it up, in a show. So like, I don't know.
Whereas in this one, they have 7 hours of TV this season, and then however many hours of TV this next season. So like that's not going to equate 1-for-1 to the game. And granted, the game has like, longer action segments. Like obviously that's a big part of the gameplay. But yeah, I think I agree with most of the changes. And like, even if I didn't, like, I don't want to just watch a 1-for-1 remake of the game. If I wanted to do that, I would just play the game, or I would play one of the 50 remasters that have come out.
Exactly.
I can experience it again for myself. But
so that was probably like the biggest change they did. We got a great look at like Isaac, whenever he first switched over to the wolves, which I guess and maybe I'm just not, I can't remember like his character in the game. It didn't make a lot of sense to me for him to go from like Fedra, a military force, to then switch over to the wolves, another military force. It just seemed kind of weird.
Right.
Like his, like, why, cause like in the, he meets up with the wolves, and I love that like Josh Peck was in the show for like 2 minutes, and then he like tosses the grenades in. Cause he was like, yeah, these, you guys are being assholes to the voters. That's what they called like the civilians, I guess. But then you kind of turn around and you're the same thing. So that didn't really make a lot of sense to me. But
I think it was just different. Like when he got out of Fedra and joined WLF, like it was at a different point. Okay. Like WLF was at like an earlier point.
So they probably weren't fighting like the Seraphites yet.
Yeah, they were pretty fresh on. And then by present day, it's back to Fedra level essentially. Yeah. Like he's back to what he was before. Like even the other Fedra guy that he brought out of the truck and recruited, and
he's like stone cold now.
Yeah, he's like he's weathered and stone cold, and just a different person.
Yeah.
So I think that just shows that like the wolves are no better than Fedra. Like it's no different. It's all just like a militaristic group. That's
I mean, none of the groups are really any better, because like I love that line where after you get the realization that Isaac is torturing the Seraphite, and then he was like, your people shot at us, like we didn't, like you kill our children. And he's like, well, you teach your children to shoot at us. And then he started to say something. He's like, it doesn't matter how it started.
Yeah, he's like, he shot first. You shot first. You shot first.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. But I liked how, like, in the third episode, they showed off the Seraphites as, like, almost kind of like, the victim, I guess, because they all got butchered on the road. But then you realize that once you get to the TV station, like, and you saw, oh man, that was gruesome.
That was gruesome, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, this episode had a lot of really good, like, set pieces.
Yeah. Like the show in general has had just fantastic set pieces.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that entire scene in the TV station, the entire scene in the tunnel with all the infected.
So good. Yeah.
Like, that was incredible. And then, of course, getting to, like, the iconic movie theater, like, where a lot of big moments are going to take place. But yeah, I think, it makes sense. Like, in the game, they had Dina and Ellie, like, hooked up earlier, so they were already kind of an established relationship by that point. Whereas in the show, it's like that was their big moment to realize that, or at least for Dina to realize that, she had feelings for Ellie.
Yeah.
And the bite just kind of propagated that.
Yeah. And I love how, like, cause like in the game, like, I think whenever you go to the TV station, like, after you get caught, like, it's just kind of Ellie going on, like, a killing spree. And this one, it's like they're way over their heads.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And you can definitely tell. I mean, after they kind of sneak away. So yeah, it definitely feels like grander than the game does. Like, it feels like they are literally fighting an army, which they are. I will say, like, I guess my only issue with, like, the ending is when they figure out where they need to go. And I know Ellie kind of gave that pushback with Dina saying, hey, like, you can stop. I kind of wish they both were like, hey, maybe we are in over our heads. Maybe we should think about just not doing this. Like, is it worth both of our lives to go on this vengeance quest? Because if it was, I mean, obviously, I don't know what I would do in that situation, but in the, on the outside looking in, it's like, I mean, you're literally going through, like, a war zone. I mean, like, is it worth it? Is it truly worth it?
That's kind of the point, though. Like, Ellie's so overcome with revenge. Like, she has that tunnel vision where that's all she's going to see, and that's all she's going to.
And I guess we haven't seen that yet from her. And I'm sure next episode when we get to, I'm assuming Nora is going to be who we're going after, or maybe what's the guy's name? Not Isaac, but the one that, like, hit Ellie initially in the face.
It's not Jace. I can't remember.
I know I think he's like the first person that gets taken out in the game. I'm not sure they're gonna go that same route in the show, but I think once she finds the people responsible, I think that's when you'll see the click and you'll see, like, the war path. Right now it just kind of seems like a buddy, kind of quest,
Right. It's not, oh, this is the cycle of revenge, or, like, this is, it's not that yet. It's just them trying to avenge Joel at the moment. But I think, once we get deeper in, and I say deeper in, and there's only three more episodes to the season.
It's crazy. It's insane. It's already almost, we're halfway through.
Yeah. I mean, the longer we get into it, the more I think that the next season is going to be Abby's perspective.
Yeah,
because there's a lot, like, there's the Seattle day 1, 2, 3 with Ellie, and then it flips, right? Flips to Abby day 1, and you play her 3 days. So
that could be very interesting. They could do day 1, 2, and 3 for Ellie. I don't know. It's gonna be very interesting how they handle that in the show. But so far, I mean, I've liked everything that they've done. Like, I really don't have any complaints.
Yeah.
And it's, I was very worried. It's like, okay, how is this show going to be without Pedro Pascal, like, being in the lead? And I feel like it's with Dina and both Ellie as kind of like the main leads. Like, it feels like they can kind of carry the torch.
Yeah. I mean, I think Dina is such a standout character.
Oh yeah. She's definitely
this episode. Yeah. Yeah.
And then like, I mean, we didn't talk about it, but like the whole, like the famous scene from the game with her playing the guitar.
Yeah. Oh my God. That was better in the show than it was in the game.
It was. And I was watching the Kind of Funny spoiler cast for this episode, and they I can't remember who said it, but he said that he's never like seen an actor or actress just looking at their face, and like obviously because you're just looking at Dina's face in the scene, how much like love he can tell that she has for her.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's like never seen, and that kind of, I mean, I kind of in agreement with that. Like her that entire performance for just Dina's character or actress alone was incredible.
Yeah, like her I mean, even throughout the whole episode, like her facial performances, were so great. Like especially when Ellie got bit, and she, realized she had to kill her, and then she didn't believe her when Ellie told her that she was immune. Like all that, there was so much said like in the silence between the words, and excellent episode.
It was great. Can't wait for the remainder of the season.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well let's dive over into the news. So seemingly out of nowhere today, and it's been kind of rumored the last couple of years, but Xbox finally came out and said Gears of War Reloaded is coming to Xbox, PC, and PS5. No Switch 2 on August 26th, and it's $40. It's free on Game Pass if you have Game Pass Ultimate.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have Gears of War Ultimate Edition, if you don't have Game Pass, but you have the Ultimate Edition, you get the upgrade for free, which is, I mean, say what you will about Xbox and their price increases, and we can talk about that here in a second, but I think they've been the best company for like goodwill. And they've kind of had to, because they've had no games this generation.
Been in last place, yeah,
and they've been in last place, but no other company is doing that. Everyone's got their $10 upgrades, and Nintendo's got the $20 upgrade. Like,
they've been very consumer friendly with Game Pass and with all these next gen upgrades, and this is no exception. And
they've been consistent from the beginning with like their smart delivery program that they do for the the games coming to the Series X. So, but yeah, Gears of War Reloaded. I am very, very excited. Gears is one of my favorite franchises. Very excited to see what this looks like. I mean, it's got the full works, 4K, 120 FPS for multiplayer, and then 60 for campaign. So, and it's got cross play, cross progression as well. So you can, if you want to pick it up on the PS5, you can. Like, it's just they did everything right. Like,
you can give some PlayStation players the business.
Exactly. So yeah, I'm very happy that PlayStation players finally get to play Gears if they haven't ever played it. And then this just makes sense because we know Gears, like E-Day is coming out next year, I believe. So I mean, this is the perfect game, obviously to get people into it. Whatever they'll do with 2, 3, 4, and 5, I'm sure that'll come eventually. But I mean, this is the perfect one to get into, and then
get people invested in Marcus's story. Yeah, and then E-Day is just a prequel to that. So I'd say that's a win. I mean, this is huge. I mean, the implications that Gears coming to PS5 has, like Gears is one of their, top franchises.
Biggest flagship title they have other than Halo. Halo's left. Halo and Forza Motorsport is the only thing really left at this point.
I think the next Forza Motorsport will come to PS5.
Oh yeah.
And now really it's all eyes on Halo at this point. Like when is that going to come to PS5? Is it going to be the Halo 1 remake that's like cross platform, or is it going to be like Halo Infinite coming over to PlayStation 5? I think it's going to be the former.
Yeah.
And I think it'll come to Switch 2 as well. I do think Gears of War Reloaded will come to Switch 2, but that'll probably be announced at Nintendo's own Direct or conference. I don't see why, like, I don't think all of Switch 2's titles need to be announced by Nintendo. I think this could have been announced along with all the other platforms today, but we'll see. We'll see if it gets announced like sometime in June. But this is huge. This is huge news.
Yeah, I'm very excited for just gaming in general, gamers in general.
Oh yeah,
because like this is such like a big franchise, and I think a really important one because this started like the 3D cover action shooters. Like this started that genre.
Yeah,
and especially like and like couch co-op and stuff like that. So yeah, very, very excited that's coming. We'll briefly talk about the Xbox stuff, but you know, I think like one month to the day after Nintendo announced, had their big direct, Xbox came out and said that all the prices are increasing for all the accessories, I think, and like all the consoles are getting their. We don't have the details in front of us, but like, I mean, it went into effect like on May 1st.
Yeah,
so
I think that's
like immediate.
What is it? The Series S is going up to 380 from 300, and the Xbox Series X is going up to 600 from 500, so $100 increase.
Crazy.
And then like the 2 terabyte edition was going from 600 to 730.
Like yeah, it's crazy how expensive that is.
Crazy. 4.5 years into a console's life cycle, and we're getting price increases in the US, like, and everywhere else. But
yeah, it's unprecedented. It really is. I mean, Xbox pretty much killed. They've officially killed their console sales. Obviously, they were not great to begin with. So at this point, I think everyone that wanted an Xbox has one, and anybody else that wants to jump in is going to have to pay that premium now. But they've all but killed their. I think they're just done with this generation, and they just want to get out whatever next they have. But
right,
what is that going to cost? Like I'm not spending $800 for an Xbox or any console.
It might be. I mean, if a digital Series X that has a 2 terabyte drive, 2 terabyte storage can be 720. What is PlayStation going to do with the PS5 Pro? That's currently 700.
Oh, it's going up to 800 for sure. I guarantee it.
Yeah, I mean that's got to go up to 800. The base PS5 is probably going to go up to 600. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they phased out the physical version of the PS5 and just sold the digital version and the disc drive separately. So, I mean, I think this is just the beginning. I know Nintendo was the one that technically started this because of, I mean, they set the precedent with $80 games, the accessories, those price increases, they were a result of the tariffs. So, you can't blame them for what Xbox is doing, but there's just so many factors. It's not only the tariffs.
They didn't have to do $80 for.
No, Nintendo didn't have to do 80.
No, yeah,
they definitely.
And I guarantee you, if they hadn't done 80, Xbox would not have increased their prices on their games. They would have done their consoles and their accessories because of the tariffs and stuff like that. But I don't think they would have done their games. I don't think they would have been the first one to do it. I think they would have waited for somebody else to do it.
I feel like if they saw Nintendo consistently pricing at 70, because I know Tears of the Kingdom was their only $70 game last gen, but like if they saw like, okay, Mario Kart's gonna be 70, Donkey Kong's gonna be 70, they might have said, hey,
our games are more premium.
It's probably time for us to increase our prices as well, since we've always kind of been, a step above Nintendo in terms of our pricing structures. Yeah. And that's worked for us. I'm sure they were hoping PlayStation would bite the bullet first and announce that price increase.
It's coming. It's going to come before the holiday time for sure. So just, it's absolutely coming. So
it's crazy. I mean, it's never been a more expensive time to get into gaming.
I'm just glad that I got my PlayStation back last year when I got it, and we both had the Xbox since it launched because I'm not spending more than $500 for a console right now.
It's almost like an investment at this point because I bought the console at 500 and technically I could sell it at 550.
And that's why because normally like companies will give you like a little bit of time to kind of, if there's going to be a price increase or something like that. But this one, they did it effective immediately because they knew people would scalp it, and grab it and then sell it for,
Yeah, that's a good point.
Whatever, But yeah, I mean, it is kind of an investment at this point. I mean, you could probably sell it for a good chunk of change and still keep it underneath the MSRP for now, but So yeah, I'm glad I dipped in early when I did. And it does worry me for like the future of what these consoles look like. And I mean, we talked about it before, but I mean, I don't see myself needing to get a new Xbox anytime. I mean, as much as the Xbox One games have kind of dragged alongside, and PlayStation 4 as well, have dragged alongside these new consoles, like I don't know, we've always talked about it. They haven't really felt like the next step is it's just kind of been a half step, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just been such a weird generation.
Yeah, and I know we've talked about this before, but we already hit such a peak with graphical fidelity last generation, where the jump over to Series X and PS5, it's like the improvements are in like the processing powers and the lack of loading screens. So it's like it doesn't feel like a big jump because it's something that's kind of taken away from you in a way, like not taken away in the sense that you miss it.
It was just kind of like the least biggest jump that we've had since the 360. Like 360, the Xbox One was a pretty decent jump in like graphical fidelity, and going from Xbox One to Series X. I mean, the 4K does look nice. Like going back and looking at Halo 4 and stuff like that when it definitely like looked a lot nicer, but. Yeah, games really haven't changed that much since the 360. They've gotten a little bit nicer looking, but that's about it. Other than just like
4K 60.
Yeah,
and
even then, most games can't even hit that now. Like it's so uneven. So I don't know. I am worried about the future of what these consoles will look like, what they'll be priced at. But we'll probably don't have to worry about that for a couple of years. So,
do you think the Switch 2 is going to increase in price after this initial wave of consoles?
Probably. I think so. I think they didn't increase because they had so many here already that I just don't think those got impacted by anything. Because I mean that's kind of been like the rumor for like the last 6 months has been Nintendo's just kind of been stockpiling Switches, in the US and probably across the whole world. But yeah, I guarantee you, like probably a few months, maybe they'll ride it into the holiday, maybe. But yeah, 2026, there's probably gonna be a price increase.
Right. Yeah, it's becoming more and more premium. It's better to get in early now, whereas beforehand in previous generations, you could wait until 5 years in and get a Wii for $100. They're practically giving them away.
Yeah.
By the end of the generation, like 2DS, you could get that for like what, $70 by the end of that generation.
So yeah, it's just such a bummer with all of this stuff, and some of it's corporate greed with increasing prices, and some of it's just, they just have to do it. Hopefully that stuff comes down, but I mean, we just once stuff goes up nowadays, it never comes back down.
No,
it's just kind of the reality of those situations. But on to brighter news. Clar Obscur has done excellent. It has dominated sales. It is, I think you said probably around 2 million at this point.
Probably, yeah. They have an announcement. They have not announced it yet. It's probably getting close to 2 million. I think the Steam estimate, it's estimated like 1 million sales, 1+ million sales just on Steam alone. So, when you think about PlayStation, you think about Xbox, which, I don't know what percentage of the sales are on Xbox because of Game Pass, but you have to imagine that PlayStation is making up a good portion of that. And on Steam, in recent RPGs, it's the fastest selling turn-based RPG on Steam, and that's passing Metaphor. That's passing like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I know that was not turn-based, but it was included in the graph. Yakuza, like it's killing it, and it seems to be doing even better now than it was last weekend. Like the concurrent peak players peaked out yesterday, and it's only growing. So.
Word of mouth, being on Game Pass, and being like budget friendly. I mean, I know $50 back in the day wasn't considered like it kind of was, but kind of wasn't. But now it's like definitely budget. friendly. So yeah, I think just everything's hitting about this game, and then obviously it's just a really good game. So
yeah. So hopefully it continues to do well.
Yeah, I hope so. Probably the biggest news that we've had since the Switch 2 got announced, GTA 6 is delayed. I think a lot of people probably saw this coming. A lot of publishers and developers they all had a sigh of relief.
They're all
yesterday,
rubbing their hands together.
Yeah, everybody's rubbing their hands together, getting ready for those to announce their release dates. But we do have an official release date, May 26th. So it is a year plus delay. I mean, this game probably wasn't going to come out to the holidays anyway, so more realistically, probably about a 6-month delay.
Yeah, I think it was already slated for fall, right?
Yeah, okay. I think so. Well, I don't know if it was. I don't know. I don't think they ever gave like a specific time frame, but we just assumed it was probably the fall. Yeah. So we're looking more like at a 6-month delay after probably like previous estimates of what they wanted to get the game out at. But I'm okay with it. I mean, we've had so many good games this year. We've got so many good games to come. We've got the Switch 2 to play around with. You know, Xbox has a huge event in June. They're probably going to announce some more stuff. Gears of War is now coming out. Is there going to be a Halo remaster? We don't know. So just a lot of stuff on the horizon to look forward to. And obviously, I want to play GTA 6. I'm very excited for that game to see what that looks like in this day and age. How far are they going to take the jokes and, you know, the grossness, you know, whatever. We'll see. But I'm glad, you know, delays are never a bad thing. So
never a bad thing. And they specifically delayed it to avoid crunch. I know
they're notoriously bad for that.
Yeah, I know Red Dead Redemption 2, I think the crunch was extremely bad there. And you know, it seems like they're putting in a lot of effort to avoid that, even if that means delaying the game. Which that's very respectful. They know the game's going to do well. They can probably afford delaying it another 6 months. GTA 5 still does extremely well. It's still selling well. It's still selling a lot of microtransactions. So
they've made billions off that game at this point. So I think they're just fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this has huge implications. I'm sure we'll see a lot more release dates, you know, not only out of Xbox's presentation in June, but, you know, let's say Sony has a showcase this May. I'm sure we'll see some 2025 release dates. Hopefully Bloodborne remastered somewhere in there. But, and honestly, we haven't talked about Nintendo, but you know, Prime 4 doesn't have a release date. Kirby Air Riders. Airy Curve Riders. That's a good one. Kirby Air Riders doesn't have a release date. Let's see, Hyrule Warriors, Age of Calamity doesn't have a release date. Anything else that I'm missing that was announced? But
I think that's the big three that Nintendo has coming. Obviously, like Hollow Knight is still slated for this year. Yeah. So we'll see when that comes out. I mean, that's another like meme game at this point. Like, you hold your breath on that Bloodborne 2 or Bloodborne remaster. I don't know about that.
I don't have a lot of faith in Sony.
I think we've got maybe 1 or 2 more Last of Us remakes that we've got to get under our belt, and then we can start worrying about Bloodborne again.
Oh God. And then maybe they'll re-release the Uncharted trilogy again on PlayStation 5.
Yeah, they'll do a Last of Us Part 2 remake, and then add in Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey as playable characters. Which actually, you know what? Don't do that because the internet will do devious things to Bella Ramsey's character.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's beside the point. But and then last up here, Oblivion remastered, already the third best-selling game of the year in the U.S. behind Assassin's Creed Shadows and Monster Hunter Wilds. Xbox have to be just patting themselves on the back for this.
That's a huge success. Shadow Drop.
And it's like, it's kind of like, I mean, I haven't played much of it, but I know that it's basically the backbone of like Oblivion, just with a fresh coat of paint. So like all that jankiness is still in that game. It's still like a funny game to play because of all the craziness things that can happen. And I think that's what people wanted out of this game. As much as people like bitched about Starfield and stuff like that, like this game has already kind of solidified its place in gaming history. And it's one of like the one of my favorite games out there versus like I think I still prefer Oblivion over Skyrim. But yeah, that's crazy. Third best selling game in the US.
Yeah, and I know they mentioned it had 4.5 million players.
It's insane.
I don't know if that has to include Game Pass. So I don't know how many of those were actual sales, but dude, crazy success. I mean, people are eating this up. I played a little bit more of it today, just finishing out a random quest, just popped it open and actually played it on my phone a little bit today.
Yeah, I'm gonna dive more into it when I finish up Clar Obscur.
But like, you know what else is around the corner? Doom.
Yeah,
Doom the Dark Ages.
Oh, it's so good, man.
Coming next week.
Like that's we have talked a lot about Xbox this generation, just how many they've acquired so many studios, and they just seem like they just could not get games out. Mm-hmm. And then when they did come out, they just weren't like good. Like, I mean, Halo. I think we both enjoyed Halo. I mean, that was like our second game of the like runner-up that year behind Metroid Dread. That game was great. I mean, say what you will about the multiplayer. I thought it was excellent. Did it meet up to today's standards of like constant drip feed content? No, I guess not. But I mean, I was fine with where it was at. But that's just my gaming taste. I also didn't need to play the game every single day. And anyways,
well, they had great games, just not a great cadence. Like they had Psychonauts 2, Halo, and Forza all in 1 year, and then 2022 really didn't have any games. And then 2023 they had what? Forza Motorsport.
Well, they had what's that music game that was reviewed?
Oh, Hi-Fi Rush.
Hi-Fi Rush. And then they had what was the vampire game? I'm sleeping on it right now.
You and everyone else. Shit, what is it called? Redfall.
And that game was like pretty bad.
Yeah, pretty doo-doo.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what they were trying. They were trying to do like a live service thing, but it wasn't. I don't know. It was just really underbaked.
Mm-hmm. Did you play it? You played it, right?
I did. Yeah, I played like maybe a couple hours of it, and it was okay. Like it wasn't
anything offensive. Like
it wasn't offensively bad, but it was just not good. It wasn't. And granted, I didn't play it after they, gave it 60 frames per second and stuff like that.
It did play better after that.
Yeah, that's what I heard. But
yeah.
But the world like didn't. There was nothing about it that I was like, I want to go back to it.
It was just generic, generic characters. Just it wasn't great, but
yeah. But between like just the slow cadence of releases, just the weird like back and forth of like, okay, are they going full third party? Are they not? What's going on? Here's the 4 games. We're not thinking about anything else. And then, 6 months later, we're bringing Indiana Jones. Just the marketing's been all over the place. They've had more controller variants than they have games. It's just been insane. But here finally, like as like a pure Xbox gamer at heart, like it feels good for Xbox to finally like not gonna say be on top, but like game wise, yeah, they've put out some of the best games this year. So.
Yeah, I mean, this is ramping up to be one of their best years.
Yeah,
software wise.
And then I think you tweeted it out, but like, hey, since GTA 6 isn't coming out, let's pull Fable back into 2025.
Yeah, pull it back in. I'm sure that's why it was delayed and not any development reasons. So just pull that one back in, put it on the rope, reel it in, fish it in from 2026. You don't want to release it in 2026 anymore because of GTA 6.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that one's gonna be tough because like they cannot unless they release it like in February. I would not want to be like I would want months between a big RPG like that in GTA because people are just gonna.
It's gonna be so funny. Immediately. It's gonna be so funny seeing the release calendar of all the games coming out this year or next year. It's like, oh, games up until April, and then not another game until July.
Exactly. Yep. I'm ready. Like I'm excited for GTA, and like it's going to be one of those zeitgeisty games. TikTok is going to be
it's going to be nutty,
hilarious. Like it's going to be crazy. I just want to see how far Rockstar will push the boundaries, you know, in today's age.
I think they'll push it pretty far. Yeah. I think they'll push it as far as they
can. It's based in Florida, so it's like it's gonna be ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like whatever they do, you can ground it in a little bit of reality and like, this is like what Florida is like, so we can push it.
Yeah, literally,
we can push it that way. I mean, we can do that.
Yeah.
So I think they will.
So yeah. I'm glad Oblivion's doing well. For Xbox, we know that Fallout 3 is probably right behind this. And probably the same kind of,
same treatment.
Yeah, same exact treatment. The base game is still there. Probably not much change, and it's just gonna have a graphical overhaul. So, and probably Skyrim. They'll sell Skyrim for another 10 years.
When's the 20-year anniversary? 2031.
2031.
Okay.
20-year anniversary.
It's crazy that this game Skyrim is only 14 years old, but they've had like 52 releases of it. It's been
insane. It's been crazy.
I guess they'll do a Switch 2 version at some point.
I bet if they end up having a June Direct, I bet Oblivion and Skyrim will be there. I do think Oblivion's going to come to Switch 2. Yeah. Maybe they skip Skyrim on Switch.
Or maybe they have maybe they do an upgrade pack for it, because there's already a $70 edition of Skyrim on the Switch, and it's the anniversary edition.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm talking, but I purchased Skyrim on the Switch, so I can't say much. Bought it at full price.
That's all right.
It was great. It's honestly a good time. Yeah.
What's going? I don't know what to name. I don't know what the name is. Waiting to buy a Switch 2. I'm about to go on hella months of putting aside 20. Yeah,
27 a week starting now. That gives you a month.
Yeah.
unless you're planning on getting it late.
Yeah, unless you didn't get it pre-ordered.
Yeah.
Which follow Jake Randall on Twitter if you haven't already. Like, he's already talking about like a lot of Targets having stock day one, so you may be able to get one day one. You buy it online, then you go pick it up in the store. So follow him for all that stuff. He does an excellent job of keeping up with all the pre-order situation. So there's still hope out there for people that don't have it.
Yeah. But you said hella months, so I'm assuming you're not getting it on launch.
Yeah. God, we're 1 month away. 1 month away.
1 month. Yeah, exactly 1 month.
I went ahead and took the day off.
Did you take Thursday or Friday off?
I took Thursday off.
Okay.
Friday is up. It's up in the air right now.
Okay.
I may do Friday as well.
Thinking about it.
But all right, Nick. Well, any planning on a fall purchase? Way too busy. Yeah. I mean,
nice.
there's a lot of games this summer. A lot of games coming, and then if you're just genuinely busy doing work or school or whatever the case is, like, it's okay to wait. Like, you don't
honestly. Wait until like Donkey Kong Bonanza is already out. I'm sure like Kirby Air Riders will be out. All the upgrade packs for like Kirby and
and honestly, if you're not a Mario Kart fan, like,
there's not a
lot to play on the Switch 2 day one. Which is, I'm still bummed out a little bit about that, but
I'm still like thinking about what other game I'm gonna pick up on day one, and I can't commit to anything. I want to get Bravely Default, but like that doesn't feel like a next gen game. And then I want a game that has mouse controls so I can try that out.
Yeah,
I don't want to buy Cyberpunk again.
Yeah, I'm not buying that. Just Metroid Prime 4 would have been the perfect launch.
I know,
alongside Mario Kart. Like what? I don't know. Maybe it still needs the polish, and it's gonna not come out until October or something. But
yeah,
that would have been perfect because I think like sales wise it may do better just because like there's not a lot to play.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I think it would have done great as a launch title, but
surely they knew more like statistics and analytics than we know. But just someone looking in, like,
I guess, are they thinking about it as a system seller, or are they wanting it to be uplifted by the system itself? If it's the former, then I can't see them supporting that with any data, because the highest selling Metroid is Dread with 3 million,
Yeah.
Whereas Mario Kart, 60+ million. So it's like
Sky's the limit with that one.
Yeah.
All right, Nick. Well, any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
God, I mean, last week was a crazy week with news. I'm sure this week is going to continue to be crazy, and that'll keep happening until the Switch 2 launches and beyond. I'm sure.
I'm very curious, like if Xbox is like Halo tomorrow, like that would be.
I know, dude.
Hilarious.
Yeah, what if they have like a whole week planned of like remasters and stuff?
Yeah, because it was Oblivion. Was it Oblivion? Oblivion was that last
2
week
weeks ago?
2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would be.
I don't know. Like
I love a good Twitter drop. Like just I'm a sucker for it.
October's ideal, going all in with games about to drop a ban.
Yeah, I mean we talked about it before, but like we're both getting the Mario Kart bundle, the camera, the Pro controller, and then maybe I still have all the Amiibo pre-ordered, and then maybe one more game. So I'm dropping a hefty amount.
Yeah, hefty
for the
change.
But I'm still excited for it.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, I think that is going to wrap up the show. We appreciate everyone watching, everyone listening. If you can review us on your favorite podcasting platform of choice, that would be greatly appreciated. We'll be back next week with whatever craziness happens. Happy Cinco de Mayo for everyone that celebrates or just likes to have a random drink or two on a weekday. Whatever, margaritas, Dos Equis,
whatever you want to do.
Whatever. Hey, whatever. Yeah, whatever you want. Yeah, I'm sure people were celebrating super early this morning.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll be back next week. Bye bye.
Bye bye.